So now, guys, here I want somebody to tell me what is the difference between a trust bank and a business bank. Just comment on the chat. What do you think? What do you think is the difference between a trust bank and a business bank? So Andy is why saying in trust account, we deposit only. So Andy is saying in a trust account, we deposit only the trust funds. And then Elisha is saying trust bank is used for client expenses. Business bank is used for business expenses. Okay. So Andy is why saying in trust account, we deposit only the trust funds. And Elisha is saying trust bank is used for client expenses and business bank is used for business expenses. So guys, not both of you, nobody is wrong. This, you made good guesses. It is a bank account for an attorney's practice, where the attorney is in charge of the funds coming in and out of his work. He invoices the client and monies will be transferred from the trust bank to the bank. The attorney's business. So this is the business bank. This is what this is the business bank. And then what is the trust bank? What is the trust bank? A trust bank, it is a bank account that keeps that party's monies, which is client monies. A trust bank is a bank account that keeps monies paid in advance by clients for work that the attorney is still to complete. Monies the attorney must safeguard on behalf of the client is kept in the trust bank account. Monies paid to third party as per the client's instructions paid from the trust bank account. The attorney works on the client's instruction regarding the funds in the trust bank account. The trust bank and the attorney's business account should always be separate. So guys, this is basically the difference between business bank and trust bank. Can you see any questions on this, on the difference between a trust bank and a business bank? Any questions on that? Understood. Okay, so Faith said understood. Understood. And so understood. Okay, so we're gonna move on from here. So if everybody is happy, I'm gonna move on and I'm gonna share another screen. I'm gonna share another screen. So guys, I want us to do, I wanna do this exercise with you. So basically this exercise, I'm basically showing you what the transfer procedure. I'm basically showing how the transfer procedure works. So I just made this general ledger accounts. So all these accounts will affect the transfer procedure. So in this example, MMT attorneys receives money from M. Tlhagadi, the client, on the 1st of April 2017, as she sees a divorce 2 months. M. Tlhagadi clients instructs the attorney to transfer 20,000 to MMT attorney's bank account. MMT attorney performed the work 20,000 on the 30th of June 2017. So I'm gonna start with the initial entry. So attorney what received money in advance. So the divorce will happen in 2 months. So do you agree with me, guys, that this first transaction here is the attorney receiving the money on the 1st of April, which is 20,000. So Mhlahadi instructs, which is the client, to transfer 20,000 to MMT attorney's bank account. So the first transaction is this. The attorney is receiving money for work not yet performed. Are you with me, guys? So why am I saying that work is not yet performed? I'm saying that because 1st of April, the money was received, but the divorce will only happen the next 2 months. So the attorney has received how much? 20,000. So this is the first entry. So what does the attorney do? The attorney will debit the trust bank account. This is debit side. Let me just put debit. And this is the credit side. This is the credit side. So now the first entry is trust bank debit 20,000. That is the first entry because money is received by work. So I'm gonna debit trust bank with 20,000. What account must I credit? Just comment on the chat. I'm gonna debit trust bank with 20,000. And what will be the credit? What will I credit? So on the 1st of April, money was received from Mhlahadi, the client, for 20, the amount was 20,000. So I'm gonna credit trust bank with 20,000. What will be the credit? What will be the credit account? Remember, this is the trust bank, this is a trust creditor, this is the business bank, client control and fees. So basically these are the accounts. So you need to tell me if now I'm the attorney, I've received 20,000. Definitely I'm gonna debit my trust bank because money is received but work is not yet performed. What will I credit? What will I credit? What account will I credit? So you're gonna credit, so Andy so is saying credit client account. Andy so is saying credit client account. Do you agree with Andy so, guys? Andy so is saying credit client account. Do you agree with Andy so? Andy so is saying I need to credit the client control account. I need to credit this. And then Faith is saying credit trust creditors. So guys, is it Andiswa or Faith? Is it Andiswa or Faith? Who is correct? Andiswa or Faith? Is it Andiswa or Faith? Do we credit client control or do we credit trust creditors? Nonkululeko saying trust account is money paid in advance. So Nonkululeko saying we need to credit what? What is the trust account? It's either trust bank or trust creditor. It's either trust bank or trust creditor. So I'm saying money received in advance, whereby Nonkululeko is saying trust creditors, okay? So this is basically money that is received, but work is not yet done. Money received, but work is not yet done. Guys, money is received, but work is not yet done. So do we credit trust creditor or do we credit line control? So guys, we're gonna credit. Can you see the date? On the first, the date is even giving us a clue. Can you see? So we're gonna credit trust creditor. Do you know why we're crediting trust creditor? Why are we crediting trust creditor? We are crediting, yes, Faith, well done. Well done. Well done, Faith. Well done. We owe the client money because we have not performed the work as yet. Can you see the date? Can you see this money was received on that date? And this was recorded on the date, on this date. Can you see? Can you see? This is the where the trust bank money went to the trust bank and trust creditor was credited, because this is money that the attorney received, but work is not yet performed. Work is not yet performed by the attorney. MMT attorney has not performed the work in trust creditor. Now, the next step is MMT attorneys perform the work for Mhlachai and invoiced 23,000. So when an attorney invoices the client, what are the entries? Okay, so guys, if an attorney invoices the client, so meaning the attorney is issuing an invoice. The attorney is issuing an invoice. So it's saying, this is what I've done, and this is how much you owe me for the work that I performed. So that is an invoice that the attorney is issuing. So MMT attorneys is issuing an invoice of 23,000 to the client. So what are the entries? What are the entries? The entries is, now it's a data debit data with 23,000 and credit fees with 23,000. So this is the date that the attorney has invoiced the client. So basically 23,000. So basically we're gonna debit an invoice. So when an invoice has been issued, debit client control 23,000, you credit fees with 23,000. So now, because now the attorney has invoiced, now a transfer procedure needs to happen. Money needs to go out of the trust bank. The client is instructing the attorney to transfer money out of the trust bank to the business bank. So one thing that you should always keep note of is the attorney cannot deduct more than what the client has. So can you see that the client only has 20,000 and the attorney's issue is invoicing 23,000? The attorney cannot invoice a credit trust bank with 23,000 because there's only 20,000 in the trust bank. So the attorney can only invoice or transfer money out of the trust bank account. That's only the money that's in the trust bank account. They cannot deduct more because there's only 20,000 in here. So now let us do the transfer procedure. So basically what's happening, we're gonna credit the trust bank with 20,000. And then if we credit the trust bank account, what are we debiting? What account are we debiting? What account are we debiting if we're crediting the trust bank? Faith is saying business bank. Faith is saying business bank. And then Alicia is saying client control. And then Nonkululeko is saying business bank. And then Nonkululeko is saying B. So guys, because this is the money going out of the trust bank is going to the business bank. Because now the attorney has performed the work. The attorney has performed the work. Are you with me? So work has been performed. So money is gonna go out of the money is gonna go out of the trust bank. Money is gonna go out of the trust bank to the business bank because the attorney has performed the work. Now there's a entry that we need to make. Trust creditor. So the attorney used to owe the client 20,000. Now the attorney doesn't owe the doesn't owe the client. So we're gonna debit the trust creditor. What account are we gonna credit? So if we credited a trust creditor with 20,000, what account are we gonna debit with this 20,000? What account are we gonna, if we've debited the trust bank saying that the attorney doesn't owe the client anymore, what account are we gonna credit? What account are we gonna credit? If we've debited the trust creditor, what account are we gonna credit, guys? What account are we gonna credit? So if we've debited the trust creditor saying that the attorney now doesn't owe the client, what account are we gonna credit if we've debited the trust creditor? Faith is saying client control. Alicia is saying trust creditor. So Faith is saying client control. And Nonkulu to credit. If now I'm saying that as the attorney, I don't owe the client anymore, I've debited the trust creditor. What account must I, if I've debited the trust creditor, what account must I credit? What account must be credited, guys? What account must we credit? So the account that we need to credit is client control. We need to credit client control. So that means that this client control is just saying that the fees that the client was invoiced was 23,000 and the attorney received 20,000. So looking at this client control, does the client owe the attorney? How much? Yes, Ma Femana, yes. And Faith is saying 3,000. Yes, well done. Well done. Yes. So in this case, initially, when we started, the attorney owed the attorney owed the client 20,000 because the attorney had not performed the work as yet. But at this present moment, the attorney owes nothing to the client, but the client is still owing 3,000 to the attorney. There is a 3,000 outstanding. Guys, can you see how the transfer procedure works? Any questions there? Can you see how it works? Can you see how it works, guys? Any questions on this? So remember the first entry is this. I've highlighted in yellow. This is what I've highlighted in yellow. This is the entry. Then comes the invoicing. So if there wasn't a so let's just see. So Antiso is saying, what would happen if there was no outstanding balance of 3,000? So basically, we would have paid the client would have paid the attorney in full. So I'm gonna change this example now and say, I'm gonna change this and say, so I'm gonna change this exercise now. So remember, we initially invoiced 19,000. We initially invoiced what? 23,000. So in this case, Andiswa, what would happen if there is no balance? So at that point, if there's no balance, meaning the client doesn't owe anything, doesn't owe the attorney. So now I'm gonna change this to 19,000. That was the invoice. The invoice that was issued was 19,000. So then this changes this. Do you agree with me that this 23,000 will now change to 19,000? So I'm going to change this to 19,000. So the invoice is now 19,000. Can you see that the invoice now is 19,000? So if now the attorney has invoiced 19,000 and Trust Bank has 20,000. So this, can you see that this amount here will change to 19,000? This amount here, um, the amount will change to 19,000. Now the trust creditor will be debited with 19,000. The client control will be credited with 19,000. So you see, can you see what's happening here on the client control? What is happening here? What is happening? Does the client owe the attorney? Can you see that the client, the client doesn't owe the attorney, but when you go to the trust creditor, what is happening there on the trust credit account? What is happening with that trust creditor? There is still 1,000 rand that the attorney owes the client. Can you see? Can you see that on this one, there's still 1,000 rand that the attorney owes the client? So remember when you do trust, the transfer procedure or trust accounts, a client is a trust creditor and is also a client. It's a trust creditor because they transfer money into the trust bank. That money is owing to them because the attorney has not performed the work said. Can you see? So because the attorney has not performed the work as yet, they owe the client the money up until they've performed the work. And the client now, when they get the attorney invoices the client, that's where money goes out of the trust bank and goes into the business bank. And now the transfer, this is the transfer procedure now. This the client client control and this trust creditor. Guys, are you happy? I'm moving on to something else now. So guys, this is another example that I did. And I did that with the previous class. And so I showed them this example and I think they didn't understand. So for me, doing the previous exercise, I don't know if you understand this exercise that I did. Can you see? So basically this what I did now is the same as what we did now. Practically what I did with you now. Can you see this exercise? The yellow, it's when so I've done that in color. I've color coordinated it. So journal number 1, can you see? So journal, so basically in this exercise, MMT attorney receives money from the client and it's the 20,000 and invoice 23,000. Trust debit trust bank with 20,000 and credit trust creditor with 20,000. When money received from client before work is done. This is the first journal. The second journal is MMT attorneys invoices client after work done. So client control debit 23,000, fees credited with 23,000. Then the client instructs MMT attorney to transfer money from the trust bank to the business bank. Debit, business bank 20,000 and credit trust bank with 20,000. Then the transfer journal. So the transfer journal, you're gonna debit, trust creditor, and credit client control with 20,000. Are you still with me, guys? Are you still there? Just comment on the chat. Are you still with me? So basically now, this is the below, the exercise we just did, but now this is in journals. So this is journals. So this is the same exercise, but now this one I've added the journals and there is more explanation on the journals. So the first journal is when money received from the client before work is done. This is the 20,000 that was initially received. The second journal is when the attorney invoices the client after the work is done. So client control debit 23,000, fees credit 23,000. Journal number 3 is when money goes out of the trust bank to the business bank. So you will debit the business bank with 20,000. You will credit the trust bank with 20,000. So the client instructs MMT attorneys to transfer money from the trust bank to the business bank. So the last journal is called the transfer journal, whereby the trust creditor is debited with 20,000 and the client control is credited with 20,000. So now I want us to do this exercise together. This question here. So basically this one is a question. Please use the below information. Please use the below information to answer question 1 to 8, multiple choice questions. Trial balance of corona attorneys. So this is the trial balance. And then when you go out down additional information, the following totals appeared in the subsidiary Journal of Corona Attorneys. So this is a trust cash receipts, trust cash payment, fees journal. This is the general journal. So this is all the information that is given to us. There's a trust, there is a general ledger, there is a general ledger, there is a trust ledger account. So basically, can you see that in this exercise, this attorney doesn't have one client. There's a client called Gail Lars. There's a client called Sikai Water. So basically this attorney, which is Corona attorneys, how many clients does the Corona attorneys have? Comment on the chat. I want How many clients does Corona attorneys have? Just looking at this trial balance here. Mafema is saying 2. Mafema is saying 2. And then Nonkululeko saying 2. Karabo saying 2. How do you, and what are the names of the clients? What are the names of the clients of Corona attorneys? What are the names of the clients? Yes. Gail and Sekai. Yes. Well done, guys. Well done. Well done. Yes. This attorney has 2 clients. Has 2 clients. So this is a trust ledger account. This is a trust ledger account. And this is the client control account. So please use the above information to answer the below multiple choice question. So the general trust creditors control account balance as at the 31st of March will be. So the question now is asking you, what is the general ledger? What is the trust creditors control balance as at the 31st of March? As at the 31st of March, 2020. Just comment on the chat. What is the trust creditors control balance as at the 31st of March, 2020? What is the trust creditors control account? What is the trust creditors control account balance as at the 31st of March, 2020? Let's just go down. Please use the above information to answer the below multiple choice question. The ledger of March 2020 will be A 17,500, B 15,900, and C 15,000. And can you see there? We are doing learning unit 6. And most people are saying B. I can see more are saying B, hey? Are saying B. Most people are saying B. The answer is 15,900. Yes, guys, yes. The answer is 15,900. Can you see? Here's the answer here. Here is the answer. The trust control account general ledger balance as at the 31st of March is 15,900. The next question is the general ledger client control balance as at the 31st of March. What is the client control account balance as at the 31st of March? What is the client? So the options are A 5,200, B 4,000, C 2,500. The general ledger client control account balance, what is it? A 5,200, A 5,200, B 4,000, C 2,500. What is the client control account balance? The general ledger balance for client control account. What is the client control account balance? What is the client control account balance? A lot of people are saying Karabo A, which is 5,200, Palesa A, Tandolo to A, Nonkuleko A. Yes, guys. Yes, well done. Well done. This is A. Yes, this is A. Okay, let's go to number 3. The general ledger fee account as at the 31st of March 2020 will be. What is the general ledger fee account as at the 31st? So the option is 700, 2,500, 1,200. What is the fees balance? What is the fees balance? What is the fees balance? So the options are A, 700, B, 2,500, C, 1,200. What is the fees? What is the fees? What is the fees account? A lot of people are saying C. C, yes. The fees balance as per the general ledger. The fees balance as per the general ledger is as per the general ledger is, yes, guys, well done. It is 12,000. Well done. Well done. Then I want to do number 4. Number 4 is saying the trust creditor's ledger balance of GLAS before the transfer as at the 31st of March 2020. So what is the amount before the transfer for GLAS? So the option is 9,000, 8,000, 3,200. That is the options. So the balance before the transfer. What is the balance before the transfer for GLAS? What is the balance before the transfer? So the options are A, 9,000, B, 8,000, C, 3,200. So there's about 3 options here. There's about 3 options. The first one is 9,000. Second one is 8,000. The third one is 3,000. What is the balance, the trust creditor's ledger balance of GLAS before the transfer? What is that balance? What is that balance before the transfer? So we want the balance that the attorney, corona attorneys, the balance that they owe GLAS. We want that the balance that is owed to by the attorney. What is the balance? So we're looking for the balance that the attorney, which is corona attorneys, the balance that they owe the client, Gaylus. The balance that they owe Gaylus. Nonkululeko is saying 8,000, which is C. Nonkululeko is saying that. And I see Kanyisile is saying 8,000. So we want the balance that is owed to the client by the attorney, because the attorney has not performed the work as yet. The attorney has not invoiced the client as yet. So basically we're looking, I'm asking for a balance. So Faith is saying 9,000. Faith is saying 9,000, which is A. So let me just go to the options again. So the options are A, 9,000, B, 8,000, C, 3,200. So Faith is saying 9,000. Nonkululeko is saying 8,000. Can you see the 8,000? And Mafeman is saying B. So basically, Nonkululeko B is saying B. Kanyisile is saying B. Faith is saying A. Mafeman is saying B. And Andiswa is saying B. So I'm looking for a balance that the attorney owes the client because the attorney has not performed the work as yet, has not invoiced the client as yet. And this was saying 8,000. Guys, you're correct. This is the balance, the 8,000. This is the balance before the transfer. It's B. This is the balance before the transfer. This is the balance before the transfer. 8,000. So the 9,000 is the total is can you see the 9,000 is 8 plus 9. There was a balance countdown of this 8,000. So the credit balance here is 8,000. So number 4 is B. Number 5, the trust creditors ledger balance of Gaylus after the transfer. What is the amount? The trust creditors ledger balance of Gaylus after the transfer. The options are A, 4,800, B, 9,000, C, 3,200. So this is the trust ledger balance of Gaylus after the transfer. So remember Gaylus, before the transfer, the balance was 8,000, which was B. So now we want to find out what is the balance of Gaylus after they've paid the attorney, after they've invoiced the attorney. How much is it? How much? We want to see what is the balance after the transfer. So is it 4,800? Is it 9,000? Is it 3,200? So is it A, B, or C? Please, 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 guys, please switch off your camera and mute your mics, please. So what is the amount for gate loss after the transfer? After the transfer, what is the amount after the transfer? So we're looking for the amount after the transfer. Remember, we're looking for the amount after the transfer. So what is the amount after the transfer for gate loss? After the transfer. What is the amount after the transfer? What is the amount after the transfer? So most people are saying A. So Faith is saying 4,800. Andy saw 4,800. Karabo A, Nonkululeko A, and Tandolwe 2 is saying A. So guys, let's just check what is A. A is 4,800. So the trust creditors ledger balance of gate loss after the transfer, gate loss, you are correct. There it is. So if the balance before the transfer is 8,000, can you see the closing here is 4,800, which is correct. Well done, guys. Eh? Well done. Well done. Number 6, the transfer amount in the trust creditors ledger account of Sekai as at the 31st of March. What is the transfer amount for Sekai Water? The options are 1,500, 2,000, 7,900. So the options are 7,900, 5,900, 8,500. So we're looking for the transfer amount for Sekai Water. We're looking for the transfer amount. Faith is saying it's 2,000. Faith is saying it's 2,000. And let me just read out the options. The options is A, 1,500, B, 2,000, C, 7,900. So Faith is saying B, 2,000. What is the transfer amount for Sekai Water? What is the transfer amount for Sekai Water? Karabo is saying B. Mafemana saying B. Kanyisile is saying B. Well done, guys. This is the transfer amount of S Water. Can you see? Can you see? This is the transfer amount. Well done, hey? Well, hey, you're on the ball today, hey? Well done. Well done, guys. And then number 7 is the trust creditors ledger balance of Sekai Water after the transfer. the trust creditors ledger balance of Sky Water after the transfer. The options is 7,900, 5,900, 8,500. What is the balance after the transfer for Sky Water? The balance after the transfer. The balance after the transfer. Mafemana is saying B. So the option is trust creditors ledger balance. The options is A, 7,900, B, 5,900, and then C, 8,500. So it's either A, 7,900, B, 5,900, or C, 8,500. So it's either A, 7,900, B, 5,900, and C, 8,500. So the balance after the transfer for Sky Water, 5,000. So I can see Mafemana saying B, Faith B, Karabo B, Tandolotu B, Andiswa B, Kanyisile B, and Nonkululeko B. Well done, guys. Yes. Can you see? This is the balance here, 5,900. This is correct. The last question here, the client ledger balance of Sequoia Water after transfer. What is the client ledger balance of Sequoia Water after the transfer? The options is 3,200, B, nil, C, 8,500. Best option is 3,200, B, nil, C, 8,500. The client ledger balance of Sekai Water after the transfer. Let's look at the client control account. The client control account of Sekai Water after the transfer. What is it? What is the balance of client control account after the attorney has invoiced? After the attorney has invoiced. After the attorney has invoiced the client. Mafemana saying nil, and this one nil, Kanyisile nil, Karabo nil. So nil, which is B. So Mafemana is saying B, Faith is saying B, and this was saying B, Kanyisile is saying B, and Karabo is saying B. The answer is nil. Well done, guys. Well done. So I'm giving you what? 100 out of 100. I'm giving you 100 out of 100 for this exercise, eh? 100 out over 100, guys. 100 over 100. I mean, I'm so impressed. I am very, very impressed. 100 over 100. Huh? 100%. I want to do this last exercise with you. Is this last exercise I want to do with you? I want to do this last exercise with you guys. Thank you. I want to do this last exercise with you guys. So if you can ace this one, then I'm happy. I'm very happy if you can ace this one. I have no doubt that the next assignment, 80%, 90%. %, 90%. So I want to do page 21, page 21, learning unit 6. Page 21, example 6.3. Example 6.3. The bookkeeper of SA attorneys presented the following list of balances as at the 31st of March 2021 to you. The balances already include all transactions, including fees. So A Africa, client ledger, this is all the balances. So the question number 1 is saying, what will the maximum amount be that can be transferred from the trust bank account to the business bank to ensure that no trust shortages will arise? The balance of the trust bank account before the transfer is 48,600. So the question is, what is there? What will the maximum amount be that can be transferred from the trust bank account to the business bank account to ensure that no trust deficit will arise? The balance of the trust bank account before the transfer is 48,600. Okay, we've got an answer. So Mafemana, this is our top student, guys. He's the first one always to answer. So Mafemana is saying 48,600. Do you agree with Mafemana? Do you agree with Mafemana, guys? He's saying 48,600. Do you agree? And even now, this is saying the balance of the trust bank before the transfer is 48,600. Guys, do you agree with the answer from Mafemana of 48,600? Where are you, my top students? Where are you, my top students? Where are you, my top students? Where are all of you? Where are you guys? What will the maximum amount be that can be transferred from the trust bank account to the business bank account to ensure that no trust deficit will arise? The balance of the trust bank account before the transfer is 48,600. Do you agree with 48,600? Okay. Andy Swai saying 48,600. Can you see that since the trust balance is 48,000 before the transfer, this makes it the maximum amount available, and therefore there will be no shortage in the trust. There'll be no shortage in the trust, my understanding. So yes, I agree. Can you see it with 48,600? Guys, do you agree with 48,600? Do you agree with 48,600? Because I can see everybody saying 48,600. Are you guys happy with 48,600? So Mafemana is saying 48,600. Andy Soy is saying 48,600. And Kanyisile is saying 48,600. So guys, yes, the answer is 48,600. How did they get to 48,600? How did they get to that? The trust creditors ledger. Can you see? A Africa is got a credit balance of 22,000. S South is got a credit balance of 29,800. N North, it's nil. So N North doesn't owe. And the attorney doesn't owe N North. So basically this is saying that the attorney owes A Africa 22,000. The attorney owes S South 29,800. The attorney doesn't owe N North. And W West owes the attorney. So add 22,000 plus 29,800 and minus 3,200. How much is it? Can you see? 48,600. So basically, the attorney owes A Africa 22,000, owes S South. So the attorney owes A Africa 22,000. The attorney, SA attorneys, owes S South 29,800. SA attorneys owes N North, doesn't owe N North. And W West owes the attorney 3,200. Can you see? So add this, and then minus this, then you get to what? 48,600. Can you see? So I can see now the answer on this one. They just explained where these balances are coming from. So this is now what I just explained to you. Can you see S South? I want to show you. Can you see S South credit 29,800. When you look here, S South, the closing balance is credit of 29,800. You're looking at A Africa, credit of 22,000. A Africa, let's see. A Africa should have 22,000 of credit. So I'm not sure why this is nil. And let's just see, W West has a debit of 3,200. Here it is. Here it is. Can you see? So now the total transfer is So for me, you know what, guys? I don't know this one. Can you see that this is the answer for number A, but I don't quite get the answer because they've put there 29,800. Let's see. 29,800 plus 26,600 minus 3,200. The following table can be used to calculate the amount that must be transferred from the trust bank account to the business bank account. Now, can you see that the answer for number doesn't correspond? Can you see? The following table can be used to calculate the amount that must be transferred from the trust bank account to the business bank account. But do you understand my answer for number one? This is the maximum amount, the 48,000. So I think this one is something different. I don't understand this number one. So let's look at number two. Calculate the balances of each account after the transfer journals are posted to the ledger account and funds transferred to the trust bank account. Number two, after the transfer. Calculate the balance of each account after the transfer journals are posted to the ledger account. The funds are transferred from the trust bank account to the business bank account. Okay, so for me, guys, number two, we're looking for the amounts after the transfer. What is the amount after the transfer? So for A Africa, guys, what is the amount after the transfer? Comment on the chat. For A Africa, what is the amount after the transfer? Okay, so Nonkululeko is saying nil. So the question is, calculate the balance of each account after the transfer journals are posted to the ledger account. The funds are transferred from the trust bank account to the business. What is the amount after the transfer? So Nonkululeko is saying nil. Faith is saying 22,000. There was no transfer. Palesa is saying 22,000. So Faith is saying 22,000 and Palesa is saying 22,000. And then Tandolete is saying nil. What is the balance after the transfer? Tandolete is saying, so basically I want to explain what are they asking. So basically they're asking if A Africa is a client of SA attorneys and A Africa has a balance of 22,000, and then after the attorney has invoiced, A Africa, how much is left of this balance? That is the question. The question is saying if the balance of A Africa is 22,000, And now this is the amount that the attorney has invoiced. So if the attorney has invoiced this, how much is left here? That is the question. What is the amount that is left in the trust creditors ledger balance for Africa after the attorney has invoiced? How much is left? Can you see, let's saying 22,000? If the client, which is Africa, has transferred 22,000 into the trust bank and the attorney has invoiced this nil, how much is left in the trust ledger of Africa? So guys, remember that a transfer procedure only happens when the attorney has invoiced the client. Then the transfer procedure happens. The transfer procedure will happen after the attorney has invoiced the client. So what then happens? The client will instruct the attorney to transfer money out of the trust bank to the business bank, and then the client control account will be credited with that amount, and the trust creditor will be debited with that amount. So guys, well done. Can you see that the trust creditor control account was 22,000 and the attorney has invoiced nil? So meaning the attorney has invoiced nothing. So the balance of the trust creditor is 22,000. Are you with me? The trust creditor balance after the transfer is 22,000. Can you see? Here it is. This is the 22,000. So S South, what is the balance of S South after the transfer? What is left in the trust creditor after SA attorney has invoiced 36,800? So after the attorney has invoiced the client 36,800 and the balance of the trust creditor is 29,800. How much is left? How much is left in the trust creditor's account? Faith is saying 0. Kanyisile is saying 0. So guys, if S South has 29,800 in the trust bank and the attorney has invoiced 36,800, remember the attorney cannot invoice more than, cannot debit the client with more than what the client has in the account. So I can see that Faith is saying 0. Kanyisile is saying 0. Nonkululeko is saying there is nothing left in the trust bank after the attorney has invoiced. So basically, guys, you are saying after the attorney has invoiced S South, after SA attorneys has invoiced S South, there is nothing under the trust creditors account. That's basically what you're saying when you're saying nil. So you're basically saying S South has invoiced 36,800 to S South, and then there is nil left. So Andy was saying nil, but the client owes 7,000 to the attorney. Well done, guys. Well done. Well done. Yes. Do you understand why it's nil? The client cannot invoice 36,800 because S South, so the attorney cannot invoice the full amount of 36,800 because the client only has 29,800. So the attorney only invoiced 29,800 because the client in the trust bank only has 29,800. So N North, what is left in N North account after this 8,400? So the attorney has invoiced 8,400 to N North. How much is left in the trust bank? So Faith is saying nil. Faith is saying nil, 0. Faith is saying 0. And Karabo is saying 0. And then Nonkululeko is saying nil. Nonkululeko is saying nil. Andy Swa is saying nil. Andy Swa is saying nil. Guys, everybody is saying nil, and you are correct. Can you see? The answer is nil because the attorney SA South is invoicing 8,400. So they cannot, can you see? They're invoicing 8,400, but the trust bank, there is nothing in the account. In the trust bank for N North. There is nothing in the trust bank for N North. Can you see that there is nothing? So you cannot invoice 8,400 whereby the client there's nothing in the account. So W West, what is the trust creditor balance for W West? Client has invoiced 10,000. What is left in the trust creditors ledger? The attorney, not the client, the attorney has invoiced 10,000 to the client, and this is the balance of the client account. So Nonkululeko is saying nil. Nonkululeko Faith is saying nil. Kanyisile is saying nil. Can you see let's saying nil? So guys, do you understand why this one is nil? Can you see? Do you understand why this is nil? So if 3,200 is a debit, so meaning the client owes the attorney 3,200 and the attorney has invoiced the client 3,200. So there is a what? A nil effect because the 3,200 um, uh, um, that the client owes the attorney. Now the attorney will only get what 3,200. So the client owes the attorney 3,200. Can you see? And the client has invoiced 3,200. So this is what? A nil effect. So let's look at number 3. Reconcile the trust creditors control account with a trust bank. Reconcile the trust creditors control account with a trust bank. Let's just see number 3. So remember, guys, when you're doing the trust bank and the trust creditor, the trust bank balance and the trust creditor is the same because when you debit bank, you credit. You debit bank, you credit. Debit bank. So every time there's money, every time there is money that is coming into the attorney's bank account, and that money is received in advance before work is done, you will always debit trust bank and credit trust creditor. So remember this. This is the balance before the transfer. Where is this 48,000 coming from? The 48,600 is coming from this. Is coming from 22,000 plus 29,800 minus 3,200. You will get, how much do you get? You will get 48,600. And then how much, let's go down. How much is the transfer amount? This is it. Can you see? This is the transfer amount, which is 26,600. The transfer amount, this is what we just said, we just did now. This is what we just did now. And then what is the balance after the transfer? What is the balance after the transfer? So it's 48,000 balance minus 26,600. The balance after the transfer is 22,000. Is 22,000. Is 22,000. So balance pay trust creditors control account above. This is it, the 22,000. So guys, you cannot debit trust bank and not credit trust creditor. So the first step, you receive money in advance, you debit trust bank, you credit trust creditor. When the attorney invoices, the next step is you debit client control, you credit fees. So that journal basically is when the attorney is invoicing. So when an attorney is invoicing the client, debit, client control, credit, fees control. When there is a transfer procedure, the transfer journal, debit, trust, creditor, and credit, client control. And remember that the attorney needs to instruct the client needs to instruct the attorney after the attorney has invoiced the client will instruct the attorney to transfer money out of the trust bank to the business bank. And when that happens, when money is transferred out of the trust bank to the business bank, you credit trust bank, you debit business bank. So are you with me, guys? So I think we've come to the end of our class.